breaking news, Max Verstappen puts it on pole. I mean, is that even a news, guys? Everybody's expecting Verstappen to completely shatter the opposition, and he's doing that. He's doing that. He gave half a second to the nearest guy, Carlos Sainz, in P2. And I mean, even though we had a very crazy qualifying session with a Ferrari of Leclerc out in Q1 and Mercedes of Russell out in Q2 alongside Perez, who had an excursion on the gravel. I mean, unbelievable. We have Carlos Sainz, nobody was expecting Sainz in P2. Lando Norris in P3. That is amazing. Amazing stuff. Let's dive a little bit. This is our top 5. We have Max Verstappen in P1 with 1 minute 12 seconds, 0.2. Carlos Sainz, half a second behind, 1 minute 12 seconds, 0.7. Followed by Norris, Gasly, and Hamilton, all 4 within a tenth of a second. So it's pretty close among the other cars, but this guy, Verstappen, is just destroying the opposition. With a display of skill and finesse, he left his rivals in the dust. And what else? What else can we say? His dominance was so evident, from the get-go. He clocked a blistering lap time of 1 minute 12 seconds, 0.2, during the first attempt at the pole shootout in Q3. And by the time that the others, completed their first attempt, it looked already pretty obvious that he didn't even need to push for his second attempt. As a matter of fact, he aborted the second attempt midway through the lap, even though if he would have completed the lap on the second attempt in Q3, that would have been even more shattering, the gap between him and P2, Carlos Sainz, and the rest of the field. It would have been for sure underneath, the 1 minute 12 seconds, so around 1 minute 11 seconds. Unbelievable stuff from Verstappen. The session itself was very exciting, with a lot of dramatic moments left and right. Charles Leclerc, being out of Q1, plagued by car troubles, and then Perez, who had an excursion, on the gravel in Q2, which relegated him in P11. And then there was also a little incident involving the two teammates, Mercedes teammates George Russell and Lewis Hamilton, resulting in Russell's early exit in Q2. On the other end, behind Sainz and Norris, we had Pierre Gasly, who made an amazing lap to secure a P4, a fourth place for tomorrow's race for Alpine, after Esteban Ocon has secured a podium in P3 last time out in Monaco. So unbelievable, really unbelievable stuff from Alpine, and now in this case from Pierre Gasly. And behind him there was the ever-present Hamilton and the resilient Lance Stroll. Nobody was expecting Lance to be in front of Fernando. I guess this is probably the first time. I will have to go through this statistic to see if it's the first time that Lance is qualifying in front of Fernando. So well done to him. And behind these two guys there was Esteban Ocon in P7, and then Nico Hülkenberg, who led us in the 8th position. Unbelievable stuff. At some point during Q3 at the beginning, Hülkenberg was but was always putting, quick lap times. Hülkenberg really seemed to be on fire today in qualifying. Then to round up the top 10, we have in 9th position Fernando Alonso, as we said, who, it's a little disappointing. The whole crowd, were expecting him to be in P2, and then today the Spanish hero was left to be Carlos Sainz. And I'm very proud for Carlos. Probably he has started to push a little extra since there were rumors, involving a possible replacement between him and Lewis Hamilton next year. So good stuff from Carlos. He really deserved it, especially in this period and especially at his own Grand Prix. But it's out of question that everybody were expecting Fernando to be out there and fighting it out, with Max Verstappen out in front on the front row. So there is a little bit of disappointment for sure. But who knows? Who knows? Let's see what these guys can do. Himself, Carlos, and Lando Norris starting out in front. But to be honest with you, I think that it's gonna be hard. But we're coming back to that later. Let's keep on going. Then in P10 we have Oscar Piastri. Oscar Piastri, amazing stuff from him to put the other McLaren inside of of the top 10. So we have two McLaren in the top 10 after their horrible start of the season, and this is really good if they can put two cars in in the top 10 in Spain, because as we know, the Spanish track, it's a track that usually it's considered to be kind of, you know, it's an important track because there are some specific track layouts that we're going to find again in a lot of many other tracks, going forward. So if you do well in Spain, you're supposed to do well, for the rest of the season, more or less, pretty much everywhere. So this is very good for them and not so good for the others, such as Ferrari in this case. Even though, they put a car in P2 and another in P19, it's hard to it's hard to judge, it's hard to judge. But the competition in the middle of the pack, it's pretty tight because, as we said before, there is only a tenth of a second between the Ferrari of Sainz, the McLaren of Norris, the Alpine of Pierre Gasly, and the Mercedes of Hamilton. I would love to see this kind of fight, for the first position. Imagine if the top four, would have been, or even with Verstappen, if the top five was within a tenth of a second in qualifying. That would have made for a thrilling race. Instead, we are left, with the idea, with the almost certainty that tomorrow is going to be a straightforward race, for Verstappen. He's going to win it out in front, and probably he wouldn't even need to push, and it could very likely be that midway through the race he will just tune down his engine, like we seen doing before, like cars like Mercedes, in their glory days era, they will always tune down, the engine midway through the race because there would be no competition whatsoever among the others with the others. So it's a little bit sad, but this is the situation at the moment. So at least let's hope that we're gonna be witnessing some fighting behind Verstappen for P2, P3, stuff like that, even though it's a lot less exciting because we want to see competition, we want to see the fighting out in front for the win, and not only for P2, P3, P4, P5 and stuff like that. But yeah, this is the way it is at the moment. So let's go on. We have Perez in P11, as we said. He had to deal with an excursion on the gravel, relegated, hindered, his possibilities to improve and move to the last section of qualifying in Q3. Then behind him in P12 we have Russell. On the other hand, it's also fine himself trapped in the clutches of misfortune, and he had contact with his teammate Hamilton along the start-finish straight, and that cost him a lot. And so Russell will start from P12 tomorrow. Then behind him we have Guan Yu Zhou for Alfa Romeo in 13th position, followed by the two Alfa Tauri of Nick de Vries and Yuki Tsunoda. Nick de Vries in front of Yuki. It's encouraging for him, considering the mixed start of the season that he had. So he's gradually regaining his confidence. It's very good for him. Unfortunately, Bottas and Magnussen could not replicate, could not match the pace of their Alfa Romeo and Haas counterparts, and they had to settle for 16th and 17th position. Behind these guys, we have Alex Albon in 18th position, and then Charles Leclerc, who's sandwiched between the Williams of Albon in 18 and Logan Sargent in 20th position. What else can we say? I mean, I guess, you know, I said it all. Of course, the situation at the moment, it's like that. Red Bull is just so dominant. And also Perez, is making so many mistakes recently. Last time out in Monaco in qualifying, and then today as well in qualifying. He lost it at turn 5 and went into the gravel. He's really not doing himself a favor if he wants to compete, for this championship. And let's hope for some fighting, guys. Let's hope for some fightings. We're going to be following the Grand Prix. We'll follow the action. I'll be here, to make some reaction, something out of it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you don't, whatever, it's okay. Just just change channel. I'm joking. I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to drop me a like and subscribe to the channel, which means a lot to me. Okay? Take care and see you to the next video. Bye.